Don't book your flight to Japan right now. I know you might have seen articles where it says that Japan opened their borders in June, but that's not quite the case. Yes, you can visit Japan right now, but only in guided tours for a limited amount of people. But trust me when I say Japan is a country better explored freely, but even exploration is better off well prepared. And that's why I'll give you 7 steps that you need to take before you book your flight to Japan. Hi, my name is Ray. Welcome to my place. So I know what some of you might say. I'm an experienced traveler. I don't need preparation. I just get my backpack and travel to a country and somehow I will survive. And that might be the case for some countries. But I think Japan has so much to offer that if you don't prepare specifically to your special interests, you can miss out on a lot of things. And that's why I think it's important to get some preparation done so you don't miss out on any things that could be important to you. And you see, of course, like the important things for the first time visitor in Japan. Step number 1, start saving money. Now, Japan is not more expensive than any other big major city in any other country. But depending where you live, flights can be very expensive. Right now at the moment, my girlfriend and I, we are also planning to have our second trip to Japan in spring next year in hopes that Japan won't close the borders again after they hopefully open them up pretty soon. And flights from Germany to Japan, like the cheapest ones, are somewhere around 700 euros, which is quite a lot of money per person. Also accommodation, so hotels, motels, Airbnbs, hostels, ryokan can become very pricey. And of course, you want to spend money in Japan for figurines or clothing, especially food, sightseeing. Maybe you're interested in hentai or something. I'm not judging, but you need to save up a lot of money so you can spend your money freely without thinking too much about what you can afford and what you can't, unless you're a millionaire or very, very wealthy and you say, I have money. You should really think about how you spend your money in the next couple of months until your time to travel. So stop wasting unnecessary money. Don't buy a lot of things. Stop eating outside so much. Anyway, let's jump to step number 2. The second step in preparation for your visit to Japan, you're already doing right now at the moment. Watch a lot of videos about Japan. And I mean, watch a lot of videos about Japan. And please stay to the end of this video. I will recommend you my personal favorite resources and especially YouTube channels that you have to watch to prepare your Japan trip. Get as much information in as you can. Learn about the different prefectures, learn about the most visited places, learn about the big cities, learn about some small cities, learn about different sightseeing points. And most importantly, watch videos that cover topics that are in your specific interest. What I'm trying to say is get as much information in as possible so you can do step number 3. That is, take a pen, take a piece of paper and write down every city and place you want to visit and every activity you want to partake when you are in Japan. And that is very important because you will most likely forget a lot of things when it comes to your actual travel when you arrive in Japan, because you will most likely get overwhelmed by a lot of things. And you also need to complete step number 3 so you can jump to step number 4. At step number 4, you take all the activities that you wrote down in step number 3 and group them into the cities where you can partake in these activities, where you can buy the things you want. That is very important, because if you know which activities you can cover in which city, makes your travel inside of Japan much easier. So now you have the possible cities you could visit, the activities you can do in that city. Now at step number 5, you make a decision which cities you want to visit. And right here comes up a very, very important question. How many cities should you visit during your stay? And also the question, how long should you stay in the first place? For these two questions, there's no 100% right or wrong answer. But I have a personal recommendation for this. Try to go at least for 2 weeks. I know for some of you it might not be possible. Maybe you can only go for a week. If it's possible, delay your visit, save up if you need to save up more money or need to have more days off from work. 2 weeks is the minimum, especially for a first-time visitor. And during 2 weeks, I would recommend, if possible, not to visit more than 4 cities. Of course, it depends how much time you want to spend in one city, how much activities you want to do in one city. Because let's be honest, you can spend 2 whole months in Tokyo alone. It will always find something new to do, always something of interest. But if you're traveling to Japan for the first time, I would recommend the, in my opinion, big 3 of Japan, which is Tokyo, Osaka and Kyoto, to at least visit these 3 cities. And maybe something more outside of the box that is not visited by so many tourists and that you wrote down in the videos you watched about Japan, right? Maybe you're very interested in ramen, so you visit Kitakata for their most ramen shops per square kilometer. Or maybe you're into apples for some reason, then you should know that you should visit Aomori Prefecture because they're known for their apples. What I'm trying to say is that during all those videos that you watched, you will have a lot of options, but you need to decide according to your time frame and your budget which cities you can visit and which cities do you want to visit and how you plan the route from one city to another. And if you have that figured out, we can jump to step number 6, which is look for hotels, domestic travel and connectivity. As I said earlier, you have different options when it comes to accommodation. You have hotels, ryokan, capsule hotels, love hotels, all that good stuff. Now that you know which cities you want to go to, you can now start to look for places where you want to stay. And these options are total personal preference and of course up to your budget that you can spend. Be free, explore booking.com, Airbnb, whatever. Do your research and you will find something that fits you. When it comes to domestic travel, traveling from one city to another, you have also different options. The bus is an option, then of course the Shinkansen is an option, so the bullet train. And in some rare cases that might not be necessary for your first time visit, but there are also domestic flights. And when it comes to connectivity, you have 2 basic choices, a portable Wi-Fi box or a SIM card for your phone. My friends and I, we had the SIM card. I think it's much more comfortable, but that's total preference. You can order them online at a local travel agency maybe. So yeah, you can prepare yourself pretty well from the comfort of your own home. So the last step on this list, probably the hardest one, especially when you travel alone or without someone who has never been to Japan, has no prior knowledge of Japan. Learn some Japanese. Now hold on. I know what you're thinking. And I'm not saying you have to learn as much Japanese so you can have a conversation with a local about the political and economical state of the world right now, but just a tiny little bit. Especially for you anime viewers out there, you'll be surprised because when you arrive in Japan, they have no subtitles. No, everything is written in Japanese, like most of the things. And many Japanese people don't speak as much English as you might expect from other bigger cities in the world. In the bigger cities, like Tokyo for example, you will get along with your English knowledge, but as soon as you get a little bit outside of the bigger cities in the outskirts, a couple of words Japanese won't hurt anyone. And again, for you anime watchers, I can tell you that your won't help you much. Learn basic vocabulary that are related to traveling, eating in a restaurant, asking for directions. A few examples would be Sumimasen, toire wa doku desu ka? Or Sumimasen, ikura desu ka? Or for example, kimi no oppai. You get what I'm trying to say. Learn basic vocabulary so you can ask for things, especially in your personal field of interest. I'm repeating this phrase because it's very important. It is important that you do things in Japan that you like. Japan has a lot of things to offer in many different fields. May it be fashion, may it be cars, may it be pop culture, may it be music, may it be movies or anime or video games. Try to educate yourself in those fields that are of your interest. And if you know a couple words of Japanese people are very appreciative. If a foreigner comes to them and asks for a direction or asks for anything in Japanese, they like that. So these are the 7 steps I would take if I would travel to Japan the first time. And even right now, in my preparation for my second visit to Japan, I'm also following these 7 steps. As promised before, my personal favorites when it comes to your preparation for your Japan trip. If you want general knowledge about Japanese tourism, about the different prefectures and what they're specialized in, maybe also some interesting hotels you can stay, please watch the Abroad in Japan channel. High quality content, very entertaining and also very educating. If you're interested in, let's say, weird cafes, bars and other sorts of activities you can partake in Japan, watch CDocVA and SitSnap. They show some very, how do I say it, special bars and cafes that you can visit in Tokyo if that's right up your alley to visit weird, quirky places. Watch these 2. When it comes to food, there are 2 or let's say 3 channels I would recommend. Mikey Chen, his other channels, Strictly Dumpling and Paulo from Tokyo. And for step 7, learning a little bit of Japanese, there's a very, very fun and interesting podcast you can listen to. Learn Japanese Pod. Listen to the podcast while you're traveling in your car or on the train or on the bus or in the subway. Doesn't matter. Listen to the podcast. Take in as much as you can. Try to remember a few things. Follow these resources, watch their videos, listen to the podcast, and you will have a decent preparation for your holiday. I think this video is a little bit longer than my last videos, but if you liked it, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in all things Japan, Japanese pop culture, and video games, and leave a comment. What are the things you want to do in Tokyo? What cities you want to visit one day? And what other kind of videos you want me to do for you. See you next time, here at my place.